Number 8. The Piri Reis map. Imagine it's 1929. You're a historian working in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, sorting through mountains of discarded documents. Most of it's junk, but then you find it. A map drawn on gazelle skin dated to the year 1513. It's signed by an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis. It's a stunning piece of cartography showing Europe, Africa, and the Americas with impressive accuracy for its time. But as you trace the coastline of South America, you notice something impossible, something that shouldn't be there. The Piri Reis map is a genuine historical artifact, but what it depicts is a genuine historical headache. At the very bottom of the parchment, where we know the frozen wasteland of Antarctica should be, the map shows a coastline. But it's not the coastline we know today, buried under miles of ice. It depicts the northern coast of Queen Maud Land, a part of Antarctica, but it shows it free of ice, detailing its bays and rivers. Here's the kicker. The world didn't even know a continent existed there until 1820. The actual subglacial coastline itself wasn't mapped until 1958 using modern seismic echo-sounding equipment. Piri Reis himself noted on the map that he compiled it from around 20 older source maps, some dating back to the time of Alexander the Great. This suggests the knowledge on his map is far older than 1513. How could ancient or medieval cartographers possibly have known the topography of a continent that has been covered in ice for thousands of years? The mainstream explanation is that the coastline is not Antarctica at all, but a distorted, imaginative rendering of the South American coast bent to fit the parchment. But this theory struggles to explain the remarkable topographical similarities between the map and the modern sub-ice scans. Piri Reis gave us a picture of a continent hundreds of years before its discovery, drawn in a way that should have been impossible. It's a cartographical ghost, a map that seems to remember a warmer world. Number 7. The Nazca Lines. You're walking through one of the driest places on Earth, the high desert plains of Peru. The ground is a barren canvas of reddish-brown pebbles. As you walk, you notice shallow lines dug into the earth, almost like footpaths. They seem to go on forever, perfectly straight for miles. You follow one and then another, crossing geometric shapes, trapezoids, spirals, triangles. From the ground, it's a meaningless jumble of ditches. It's only when you climb a nearby hill that you realize you weren't walking on paths. You were walking on a hummingbird. The Nazca lines are a collection of over 800 straight lines, 300 geometric figures, and 70 spectacular drawings of animals and plants, known as geoglyphs. Some of the straight lines run for 30 miles, and the animal figures, including a spider, a monkey, and a condor, are enormous, some spanning over 1,200 feet. Here's the mystery. These intricate designs are only fully visible from the air. Yet the Nazca culture, which created them between 500 BC and 500 AD, had no form of aviation. To create them, they simply removed the 12 to 15-inch layer of reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles to reveal the lighter-colored ground underneath. The sheer scale and geometric precision executed from a ground-level perspective is mind-boggling. How do you draw a perfect 440-foot-long monkey that you yourself cannot see? Archaeologists now believe the lines were not messages to the gods in the sky, but were actually ritual pathways to be walked during religious ceremonies, possibly related to the worship of water deities in the arid climate. This explains their purpose, but it doesn't explain their design. How did a pre-flight civilization achieve the perspective necessary to create such massive, aerially viewed art? It's as if they were drawing with a blueprint that only a bird could read. Number 6. The Roman Dodecahedron. Picture a Roman blacksmith in Gaul around the 3rd century AD. He's a master of his craft, capable of casting complex bronze objects. One day, a patron comes to him with a strange request. He wants an object with 12 flat pentagonal faces, each face with a circular hole in the middle, each hole a different size, and on every corner there must be a small, protruding knob. The blacksmith makes it, a beautiful, intricate, and utterly baffling object. Then he makes another, and another. Across the northern provinces of the former Roman Empire, from Wales to Hungary, over 116 of these mysterious objects have been unearthed. They are known as Roman dodecahedrons. They range in size from 4 to 11 centimeters and are always made of a copper alloy. What makes them an enduring enigma is that there is not a single mention of them in any surviving Roman text or illustration. Pliny the Elder wrote encyclopedias on everything, yet never mentions this device. Theories for their purpose are all over the map. A candlestick holder, wax has been found inside some, a range-finding device for military ballistics, a survey tool, a calendar for determining the optimal date to sow winter grain, or even a specialized tool for knitting gloves. Each theory is plausible, yet none can explain all the features or why they are found in such varied contexts, from military camps to public baths and tombs. The leading skeptical theory is that they were simply dice for a game now lost to history, or perhaps a masterwork to demonstrate a smith's skill. But this fails to explain their complex, standardized design and the tremendous effort required to make them. Why would so many artisans across the empire create such a specific, costly, and difficult object for a simple game? The silence in the historical record is deafening, leaving us with a perfect mystery in bronze.
Number 5. The Shroud of Turin. You're a photographer in 1898, and you've been given permission to take the first ever photograph of a famous religious relic, a long linen cloth said to be the burial shroud of Jesus Christ. On its surface is the faint, sepia-toned image of a crucified man. You take the picture, head into your darkroom, and place the glass plate negative into the developing solution. As the image slowly appears, your jaw drops. On the negative, the image of the man isn't a ghostly white outline, it's a perfectly rendered positive portrait. The Shroud of Turin is a centuries-old linen cloth that bears the faint image of a man with wounds consistent with crucifixion. Its authenticity is fiercely debated, but that's not the real mystery. The real mystery is the image itself. Scientific analysis has shown that the image is not a painting, scorch, or photograph. It resides only on the topmost microfibers of the cloth, with no pigment, ink, or dye present. Furthermore, when the shroud's image intensity is analyzed by a VP8 image analyzer, a device used by NASA to map planetary surfaces, it produces a perfect three-dimensional relief of a human body. Paintings, photographs, and scorches do not contain this kind of 3D encoded information. When analyzed the same way, their images become wildly distorted. To this day, no one has been able to scientifically replicate an image with these unique physical and chemical properties. Skeptics propose the image was created using a medieval technique, perhaps involving a heated bas-relief statue pressed against the cloth. But this fails to explain how the image was formed without leaving scorch marks that fluoresce under UV light, or how it could contain accurate 3D data. Scientists can explain what the image isn't, but not what it is. It remains a scientific negative, an image that defies replication and whose formation process is, for now, beyond our understanding.
Number 4. The Voynich Manuscript. Imagine finding a book in a dusty antique shop. It's clearly from the Middle Ages, filled with beautiful hand-drawn illustrations. But as you look closer, things get weird. The plants depicted are impossible hybrids, with the roots of one species and the flowers of another. The astronomical charts show constellations that don't exist. Women bathe in strange green liquid flowing through an elaborate organic plumbing system. And the text itself, it's written in an elegant, flowing script that looks like no language you've ever seen. The Voynich manuscript is a 240-page codex, carbon-dated to the early 15th century. Its text is written in an entirely unknown language and script. The world's best cryptographers, including the codebreakers who cracked the Enigma machine, have tried and failed to decipher it. Statistical analysis of the text shows that it follows the patterns of a real language. It isn't just gibberish. It has word frequency and entropy that mimics real languages like English or Latin. Yet not a single word has been verifiably translated. Even modern AI and machine learning algorithms, fed hundreds of known languages for comparison, have been stumped. In 2018, one AI study suggested the language was a form of anagrammed Hebrew, but the resulting translation was nonsensical. The illustrations are just as baffling, depicting botany, astronomy, and biology that seem to belong to another world. The most common skeptical explanation is that the manuscript is an elaborate hoax, a meaningless but convincing-looking text created to fool a wealthy collector. But this would require a level of cryptographic and linguistic genius arguably greater than just encrypting a real language. Why create a fake language so structurally perfect it fools modern statistical analysis? The manuscript remains either the most elegant gibberish ever created or a message locked by a key we've yet to find.
Number 3. The Great Pyramid's construction. You're an architect, one of the best in the world. You're given a monumental task: build a structure 481 feet tall, using over 2 million stone blocks, some weighing up to 80 tons each. You must quarry these stones, transport them for miles, and then lift them into place with a precision so fine you can't fit a playing card between them. Your structure must be perfectly aligned with the cardinal directions. Oh, and one more thing. You have no cranes, no pulleys, no steel tools, and no wheels. The Great Pyramid of Giza is an engineering marvel that still baffles modern builders. It is composed of an estimated 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks, weighing from 2.5 to 80 tons each. For centuries, the dominant theory was that the Egyptians used massive external ramps. However, a straight ramp would need to be over a mile long, requiring more material than the pyramid itself. A spiral ramp would have made it impossible to maintain the structure's perfect geometric angles. The precision is astonishing. The pyramid is aligned to true north with an accuracy of within 3/60ths of a degree. More recent theories suggest a system of internal ramps spiraling up inside the pyramid, or even a system of waterlocks and canals to float the blocks upwards. But even these theories have logistical problems that can't fully account for the scale and speed of construction. The prevailing scientific view is that a combination of ramps, levers, and sheer human ingenuity made it possible. Archaeologists point to the discovery of workers' villages as proof of the massive organized labor force. But this general explanation doesn't solve the specific engineering problems of lifting 80-ton granite beams to form the King's Chamber. We know who built it, but the precise how remains one of history's greatest unsolved blueprints.
Number 2. The wow signal. It's August 15th, 1977. At the Big Ear Radio Telescope in Ohio, a machine is listening to the whispers of the cosmos, searching for any sound that doesn't belong. The telescope scans the sky, and for a fleeting moment, from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, it hears something. A signal. It is loud, clear, and unlike any natural sound from space. The telescope's computer prints out the data, a string of letters and numbers. A few days later, an astronomer named Jerry Emmon sees the printout, circles the code in red ink, and writes one word in the margin: wow. The wow signal was a powerful, narrow-band radio signal that lasted for the full 72-second window that the Big Ear telescope could observe it. It had all the hallmarks of a potential extraterrestrial broadcast. It was transmitted at around 1420 megahertz, the hydrogen line, a frequency that astronomers have long predicted an alien intelligence might use to communicate, because it is the frequency naturally emitted by the most common element in the universe. It was narrow band, meaning it was confined to a specific frequency. Natural cosmic radiation is broadband. Its intensity rose and fell exactly as you would expect for a signal coming from a fixed celestial point as the Earth rotated. And then it was gone. Despite hundreds of subsequent searches of the same patch of sky, the signal has never been heard again. The most plausible scientific explanation is that the signal was a rare natural phenomenon, perhaps radiation from a magnetar passing through a hydrogen cloud. Another theory suggested it was simply a signal from a human satellite reflected off space debris, but neither theory perfectly fits all the data. The signal remains the strongest candidate for an extraterrestrial broadcast ever detected. It was a 72-second shout into the cosmic darkness, and 48 years later, the silence that followed is all we have.
Number 1. The Antikythera mechanism. In the year 1900, a group of sponge divers off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera discovered an ancient Roman shipwreck. Among the statues and amphorae, they found a corroded lump of bronze, about the size of a shoebox. It was brought to the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, where it sat for 2 years, dismissed as just another piece of wreckage. Then one day, the lump broke apart, revealing something impossible inside, a complex system of interlocking bronze gears. What the divers had found is now considered the most technologically sophisticated artifact of the ancient world, the Antikythera mechanism. Dated to around 100 BCE, this device is an astonishingly complex analog computer. Using high-resolution X-ray tomography, scientists have revealed at least 37 meshing bronze gears inside its fragmented remains. By turning a hand crank, the user could perfectly track the positions of the sun and moon, predict solar and lunar eclipses, and even model the irregular orbit of the moon using a clever system of epicyclic gearing. It also tracked the 4-year cycle of the Pan-Hellenic Games, including the Olympics. The level of miniaturization and mechanical engineering involved would not be seen again in the world for at least another 1,500 years, until the astronomical clocks of medieval Europe. Science can now tell us what the mechanism did, but it creates a much bigger mystery. How did the ancient Greeks make such a monumental leap in technology? And more importantly, why did this incredible knowledge completely vanish? There are no other known examples of such complex gearing from the ancient world. The Antikythera mechanism stands as a ghost from a lost technological timeline, a testament to a genius that shone brightly and then was inexplicably extinguished. So now you know the real story. Your curiosity is what brought you here. Our job is to reward it with the true explanation every single time. If you're the kind of person who always needs to know the real story, then you're in the right place. Subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.